Hola, damas y caballeros. Welcome to another edition of the Bleed Los podcast. This week's podcast is presented by our partners at BetOnline. They are the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, and events with first to market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports info from live in-game betting, props, and futures. So if you head on over to BetOnline's website today, betonline.ag, and use whatever device you have to sign up, you make your first deposit. Or I'm sorry, make your first sports bet. If you use our promo code, which is Believe50, BLEAV50, you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Big thanks to BetOnline, where the game starts, for presenting this week's episode of the podcast. Guys, no pasó nada, and I kind of wanted to start with that because the ace, the Los Angeles Dodgers ace, Julio Urías, who also happened to commit to playing for mi Patriota de Mexico in the WBC next year. He's on a roll, but I wanted to start with the WBC thing before we pile on with Juan. It's kind of cool to see the names that are out there that are joining as far as like committing to the different teams. We've seen Mookie Betts commit with the Americans. We like we mentioned Julio Urías. The Mexicans also got Randy Rosareña's commitment earlier this week, I think it was, or last week, I can't remember. Also Isaac Paredes. So I feel like this tournament is finally shaping up to what we all kind of hoped it was, as you and I have talked about, Juan, that it would be the best baseball tournament on the planet. The Dominicans are stacking up, the Puerto Ricans are stacking up, the Americans are going to be good. I'm actually kind of curious if the Americans are going to load up with maybe, I don't know, some other Dodger guy named Clayton Kershaw. That would be cool.
Woohoo!
But I was curious, Juan, what your thought was on all that.
Look, this is what I've always wanted. I wanted everybody to take this seriously. I know that it's going to take some time for it to be as popular as the World Cup, but that's my goal. That eventually it gets to that popularity. I would love for the whole world to shut down and just watch these games because the environment in these games is fantastic. I was at the last one at Dodger Stadium, and I got to tell you, with the Japanese team having the drums out in left field, the Puerto Ricans were literally just going through the grandstand and just throwing a party. They would just have a dance party. I mean, the vibe was just so much fun, and that's what it was. And then the Americans ended up winning it. And for the Americans to come back, I mean, all I've been hearing is how loaded this team is. Dude, there's 3 Dodgers on this team. Mookie, Will Smith, and Trey Turner committed. Well, hopefully he's still a Dodger by the time they play this tournament. But they are, I mean, the American team is stacked. The Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans have always sent, I feel those countries have always taken this tournament serious. So the fact that the Americans are coming to defend their title, I think is fantastic. But I got to tell you this, the Pool C, I think, I don't know if it's el Grupo de la Muerte, but I mean, poor Mexico. They got the United States and they got Colombia, they got Canada in there. I mean, I think maybe it's between the United States, Colombia, and Mexico. I think the United States for sure probably is going to come out of that pool, but Colombia and Mexico are fighting for that last spot. I mean, what do you guys think?
Hey Juan, real quick,
Yes, sir.
Freddie Freeman, Team Canada.
Oh, there you go.
And I mean, Canada's always had a pretty decent team. I mean, if you remember when there was the northern border versus the southern border brawl, both those teams were actually relatively stacked up. Aegon played for the Mexicans. If I'm not mistaken, Justin Morneau played for the Canadians. I mean, there were some names on both those teams. So the Canadians have always had a decent pool of guys that they've been able to pull from. So I honestly, I think you're right, though. I think this is the closest. This is going to, I think, in my opinion, roster-wise, going to be the best World Baseball Classic that they've had. Everyone's loading up, and it's good to see because one of the things that I love about the World Cup of soccer is all those rosters load up. They send everyone. and the world stops, right? So I'm hopeful. The Japanese are always pretty good too. They got some guys over there too that you've never heard of that are going to do the damn thing. But I hope it turns around. Alicia, have you ever been to a WBC game?
So unfortunately, I could not go. My parents went though, and
Oh.
they were all about it. They had such a good time. My mom loved it. I think Juan, my mom also mentioned the Puerto Rican fans.
They took over Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
They took over Dodger Stadium. And just to I'm going to let you finish, Alicia, but I just want to clarify. El Grupo de la Muerte is Pool D. I'm sorry. My apologies to everyone. Okay. Because that's Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and the Dominican Republic. And our poor friends in Israel, to get that draw where you're going to get the Puerto Ricans, Venezuela, and the Dominicans, that is El Grupo de la Muerte. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alicia.
No. It's important to clarify. I will say this. It's super exciting that I kind of feel that there's more of a buildup. Is it because of the pandemic, how we've been shut down? We're never going to take it for granted. Maybe the players are now saying, we don't know if we can play next year or the year after. We got to play now, which is why there are two things that I want to talk about the WBC. I was hearing, I hope this rumor is true, that Austin Barnes is going to play, but invited by Mexico, which is dope, right? I think that's so cool. For all of those you don't know, his mother is Mexicana. And the rumor is, because I have family in Pico Rivera, that his family's from Pico Rivera. So now everyone's trying to claim Austin Barnes. That's how we do it. And then secondly, what about Kershaw? I know you brought it up a second ago, but do you guys think that could happen? I am all in. I'm a huge Kershaw fan.
You know what, Alicia, to answer your first question, I think people are more hyped about it now because all these big names that have committed to it.
Yeah.
And because there's no more excuses now. I think before the excuse was, well, the Americans never sent their best players. No, now they're sending their best players. Like, all these countries are sending their best players. So there's no more excuses of like, nobody's taking this seriously. I feel this time they are taking it seriously. And what Alonso said, there's so much talent that's going to be in this tournament. This is going to be a fantastic tournament. And I don't think Kershaw will do it only because I don't know how much more Kershaw has in the tank. And I think he's going to be. It extends his season if he does this, right? And I think Kershaw is very, very cognizant of the fact of what he needs to do in order to get through the season. I don't know how many seasons in a row it's been now, Babyface. I think you can confirm that where Kershaw's had an injury and he's missed some time during the season. So I don't know if Kershaw is going to do that if, playing in this tournament. But the Americans have a lot more options that they can turn to for starting pitching.
100%.
Well, so when I brought up the pandemic, though, I also should have clarified that I don't think Americans took the WBC seriously. So is that what you mean? Because but other teams did send their players. I mean, it was an honor. And yes, our country's the biggest baseball from here. But I will say that I even feel like the MLB, do they have any, are they part of the reason why it seems a little, I hope they're taking it more seriously. I hope they are going to push it and push, baseball, because they are lagging behind NFL and NBA in terms of the top three in our country. So this could help. This could only help. Globalization, unity.
Based on the roster the Americans are sending, I think they're taking it serious because they're sending JT Realmuto, Will Smith, Los Angeles Dodger, Pete Alonso, Tocayo, Paul Goldschmidt, Trevor Story, Nolan Arenado, Tim Anderson, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Bryce Harper, Cedric Mullins, Mike Trout, Kyle Tucker, and that's committed as of a little bit ago. I mean, I'm sure they'll lobby a Justin Verlander to maybe join the thing, assuming he has a clean season. I mean, they have for pitching, they got Max Fried, I mean, they got all sorts of guys that you can just pick up
But
the
this
phone and
is
be like,
new.
hey,
This is the first time that I feel like it's exciting, and I'm all for it. Is all I'm saying. I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm all in. Like
I think
someone made a comment that I think the Americans finally got embarrassed of losing, and I think that's true. Honestly, I think that's a part of it. No, I mean, because
But they did win. They did win it last time. So
yeah, I mean, they had. I mean, that was their first one after getting smoked. Was it three consecutive times in the either the quarters or the semis? I can't remember. By the Dominicans and the Puerto. I mean, and that's the other thing. The Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans send everyone.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter, where they're. I mean, they send everyone. So I mean, they've always taken it pretty serious, and that's obviously why they've been good. But I
Hey,
mean,
our boy Efren is back. Hey, Efren, good to see you back on the live. Alicia, to answer your question though, I do think the reason why you're more excited is, to me, and I don't know what you guys think. To me, Major League Baseball is doing a better job of hyping it, because I don't remember players committing this early
right?
to the World Baseball Classic,
and this high profile of players either.
Exactly.
It's not like an Olympics feel, right?
Yeah,
Like,
usually it's like right before the tournament starts, you find out who's playing.
Yeah.
And for players committing now, and I think the fact that you see that high caliber talent commit to it, I think it makes other people go, well, I want to play. I want to be a part of that.
how about a certain redhead from the Dodgers pitcher?
Just the Dustin May.
Dustin May.
That would be a good addition. I mean, that's the thing. They have plenty of options. Tyler Anderson, that's another good option as far as the rotation goes for the Americans. Having a great year, obviously. So I mean, there's plenty of guys out there. So I mean, especially, and I mean, that's where they might be able to bang with some of these teams is with arms. I mean, just arms alone, right?
So Urías committed, correct? And I'm sorry if you said this earlier, but I was at the game today. My brain is a little melted. Who is playing for Mexico? Committed.
Oh,
Please.
committed. Give me 2 seconds. I can tell you right now.
Well,
okay. So you didn't
here's
say
the
it already.
thing.
My bad.
Close that window. That's my bad. We're live. It's fine.
Friend of the Carne Asada, Jerry Hairston Jr. told us this last time. They have to submit paperwork. So we don't know how. Maybe there are players, and you mentioned it too, Alicia, that Mexico asked Austin Barnes. So we don't know. Maybe they are lagging on the announcement because paperwork needs to be submitted, and maybe until it's approved, they'll make the announcement. But I mean, it's gonna be interesting because we're learning a lot of players. Like when Andre Ethier played for the Mexican team, we're like, Andre Ethier's Mexican? I love this. I love when these teams, like when the Hairstons played for Team Mexico.
I didn't know Austin Barnes was Mexican. I honestly didn't know that.
I knew that. I did know that, but I found that out just this year.
Yeah.
Just this year.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing. But I mean, yeah, it's always fun when you like who was it? Was it Mike Piazza that played for the Italians?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the last name was obvious, but he could have played for the Americans. Sean Green when he played for the homies in Israel.
Yeah.
So
I gotta make a correction. Sorry to interrupt, Alonso, but the rumors that I heard were from other sports journalists, but it's not been confirmed that Mexico did ask. So I don't want them to come at me.
Right.
We'll submit the correction.
And I believe they also need approval from the team, because I believe Julio wanted to do it last time,
and they
but
said no.
he didn't get clearance from the team.
Yeah,
see, that's why I think that's another reason why there's buy-in from Major League Baseball this time. Yeah. Because if these teams are allowing, these are superstars.
Yeah.
Okay. These are not. I mean, Mike Trout. These are big names. So now, is Ohtani going to play? Will the Angels allow Ohtani to play for the Japanese team?
He probably won't be an Angel by then, so it won't matter.
Well, but the issue is that team's up for sale. So who's going to make that call?
Well, the team he gets traded to during the fire sale of the sale of the team. That's what's going to happen.
Tell Ohtani no.
I mean, but how great. You got Ohtani pitching in this. I am just so excited talking about this. And I think we should definitely make a road trip to Arizona.
I'm in.
To watch the World Baseball Classic. The championships are going to be in Miami, but we can watch the early rounds We can go to support Team Mexico. We can go support the American team. I can't wait for it. I'm so pumped.
No games at Dodger Stadium this year?
No games at Dodger Stadium.
So there is games in Arizona, because I was a little bummed because no games at Dodger Stadium or San Diego.
Yeah, no Chase Fields on the list.
Yeah, for the Western, not the Western, but basically the games for the, what do you call it, Northern Hemisphere, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are going to be in actually, Pool C is going to play in Arizona. So the Americans, Mexico, Colombia, and Canada, they'll be in Arizona from March 11th through the 15th. Excuse me.
So yes, the 1st of March we have some plans.
Yeah, so Miami's going to get a lot of action because they get Pool D. They're going to get the quarterfinals. They're going to get the semifinals, and they're going to get the championship.
And Linda said she'll go with us. So.
All right.
We'll pick her up. We'll pick her up on the way.
Is that my mom?
Yes.
Just
La Reina de Picolandia will be joining us.
Just bring the snacks. That's all we ask. Bring the snacks.
My
Maybe
mom,
a good playlist too.
Where do you think I get it from? I told you my mom was all hyped up about the WBC when it was at Dodger Stadium, and she was bragging about how much Puerto Rico and their fans were with their flags and dancing. So, and my mom loves Miami and she loves Puerto Rico. They've been twice. So,
yeah,
we don't want any Mexican fans to get mad. We love it all. We're the Latino podcast, okay? All right.
we support all la raza until the WBC comes up. Puro pinche paisa. That's all that happens.
Exactly.
Moving on though, another guy that could be in the rotation maybe for the Americans as well, depending on his health. Tony Gonsolin. He obviously was placed on the IL, and it appears that it's retroactive and all that jazz. But it sounds like he may or may not be ready come the postseason. So we talked about this a little bit, that we were all kind of curious about what the playoff rotation may or may not look like. Obviously, we're now, it's kind of crazy to think we're 3-ish weeks away from the postseason now, which is insane that the year has flown by like that. I was kind of curious what you guys thought the rotation may or may not look like come then.
Yeah, I think it's a numbers game now, man.
Yeah. 100%.
I think it's a numbers game because that first round is a best of 5.
Yes.
So
as it stands right now, obviously the Dodgers would get a first round bye, so that plays in their favor.
The second round. I'm sorry, the first round that the Dodgers will be playing in is a best of 5. The first round is a best of 3.
Yeah.
So in that first round that the Dodgers will actually be playing, at most they're going to need 4 pitchers. So it's a numbers game because Urías is definitely there. Right. Tyler Anderson, I think now is your number 2. Okay. With Gonsolin, I just don't think the forearm tightness scares me. I don't know if that's something that you can recover from that quickly.
Stop.
So you got but Alicia,
you
it's
just
okay.
Ruined her snack, bro.
Alicia, it's okay because
he's making me eat my feelings. That's what he's doing.
No, but here's the thing. You got Gonsolin and then you got Tyler Anderson. The fact then that you have Kershaw and then Dustin May.
You're right.
What if the Dodgers end up sweeping? I know that the likelihood of that doesn't happen, but let's say they sweep in that divisional round. They only need 3 pitchers.
I still
buys more time. So I think it's a numbers game now.
I've told you guys before, and I'll say it again. You need 3 pitchers to make a run, and the Dodgers have more than 3 pitchers.
Yes,
and I think that rotation will be Julio Urías, Clayton Kershaw, Tyler Anderson. I think that's what your 3 is going to look like, and then from there, you kind of have just an embarrassment of riches with super relievers, and that's insane.
We've got depth.
See,
we need to make a shit.
And then if you need a fourth, I think that guy is probably Dustin May. That's if Tony Gonsolin is not ready to go. But if Tony is in fact ready to go, I think your 4th is Tony. But I do agree with you. The forearm strains, those always sketch me out, especially when it's this late in the season. Look what happened with Walker Buehler, right?
Exactly. That's why I'm not expecting Gonsolin back. If he does come back, great. But I'm not expecting him, and I'm rolling with these other 4 guys. Heaney, to me, if he does make the roster, is going to go in the bullpen. I was at the game on Monday, guys. I don't know about you, but he looked like Heaney from last year. Look, I know it was hot, and I know that when you burn off the marine layer at Dodger Stadium, that ball flies out of there.
Yes.
But I think the numbers, correct me if I'm wrong, babyface, like prior at the beginning of the season, he had only given up 1 home run. And that was the big thing with Heaney last year, right? Was he was giving up home runs left and right. Since then, Heaney's given up 8 home runs. I mean, the Giants hit 5 home runs in that game. And so that concerns me with Heaney, and that's why, to me, Heaney is an option for the bullpen if they even decide to go from the bullpen, because I know we're going to talk about the bullpen, but again, it's a numbers game now with the Dodgers because you got guys starting to come back from injury, and there's just not enough room for them because it's a 25-person roster in the playoffs.
Before we talk about Andrew Heaney, I have to get someone's input on this, Roger. Since the Dodgers never going to lose a game in your eyes, I want to know what your ideal pitching rotation would look like as it stands today.
Well, if they go 4 deep in the first round, it's going to be probably Julio, Kershaw, and then May, and then either Anderson or Gonsolin. I think Gonsolin will be back. I think he'll get a couple starts in, maybe 2 starts at the end, and he'll be back. And then don't forget, we also have Danny Duffy coming back. He does exist. One. So
yeah, he got rocked. He got rocked the other day in Oklahoma City. So
okay, gentlemen. So today at the game, the earlier game, I was sitting there listening to this exact conversation. Okay. Nameless Dodger fans in a in a discussion amongst each other with this rotation, the question that Alonso just asked, and they were debating right, left. They were also concerned that Dustin May should only pitch at home. So there were some guys basing their top 4, their first 4 rotation on, we need to keep Dustin May at home. He's just back. Let's keep him where he's been winning and dominant,
I hadn't thought about that. I let me look at his home splits. I
sat there with my ice cream listening.
I do find it interesting though that Roger is kind of snubbing Tyler Anderson for Dustin May.
I thought so too. The fact that you mentioned him as the 4, I mean, you don't think Anderson, the way he's pitched,
no, I mean,
he's
I
kind
think
of earned it?
They'll use them both. I mean, it's going to be.
But you think Kershaw's going to get the number 2 spot start?
It's going to depend on the matchup. I don't think it's going to be your traditional okay, this is our number 1 guy, 2 guy. It's going to depend on who they're facing.
Honestly, that whole our number 1 guy goes game 1. I think that shit's gone. As far as we have openers now. All that I don't think that's a thing anymore. Let's see, Dustin May.
A lot of them put Urías as 1, which I was kind of like, cool. I thought that was really cool. And it was Mexican Heritage Day, so I was like, yay.
I don't think it's a debate. I think he is their number 1.
I mean, he is their number 1, but I mean, I could see, and I know people would be pissed if, depending on the matchup, if somehow they thought Tyler Anderson would be the best start for that game 1, they'd use Anderson.
Yeah. See, to me, that scares me because it's that cute shit again. It's that they're overthinking. They want to show how smart they are. And
calm down, John Gruden. Calm down.
It was like there was no need. Like, I don't know, man. That shit scares me. It really scares me. It scares me that they overthink things where it's just like, dude, Urías has earned it. He has shown to you guys, not just the way he's pitching this year, but how he's pitched in the postseasons before. Like, if you just let him do his thing and don't get too cute.
Yes.
Don't get too cute. I mean, what happened in Game 2 in Atlanta last year? I mean, that scares me. But you might be right, babyface. I wouldn't put it past this front office for them to go, well, Tyler Anderson gives us the best chance in this situation.
Before we go to the bullpen, I wanted to ask you guys, just given the standings as they are now, who you would want to face in that first round Dodgers, second round playoffs. As it stands right now, Dodgers first round bye, number 1 seed, number 2 seed New York Mets, number 3 seed would be the Cardinals, Number 4 would be Los Bravos. Number 5 would be the Padres. Number 6 would be the Phillies as of today. So I'm curious who you guys would want to face. I just would, because again, they're going to go off the matchup no matter what.
I mean, for me, I know this is wish fulfillment on my part. I want to see the show pods. Just because Nick Kreider, who was on the show with us last week, said he didn't want to see the Dodgers until the end. I want to see the show pods. I want that matchup. I think that would be good for baseball. The way the Bravos are playing, I think the Bravos are going to end up winning that division.
Same.
And so I don't think we're going to see the Bravos until the NLCS.
But the Mets are like the best team. Like how
you can't be the best team if you're the number 2 seed.
You know what?
But everybody's saying the Mets.
But here's
That's all
the
I
thing,
heard last week.
Babyface.
Mets.
Where's everybody? I haven't said that.
But here's the thing. I think what's happening to the Mets is what happened to the Dodgers last year.
Exactly.
I think the Mets are going to have to work so hard to keep up with the Bravos to try to win that division, because I think the Mets want a bye. I don't think they want a best of 3. Yeah. So I feel they might get burnt out, that by the time they get into the playoffs, I mean, I know you probably don't want to see this, but what if the show pods, what if that lineup gets hot all of a sudden, Soto, Machado, and they win 2 out of 3 against the Metropolitans, especially if they don't have Scherzer.
So then why would you want to play him in the first round?
Because I think we're in their head. I think we could beat the Showpots. And I would love, because I wanna go down to the gas lamp and throw my parade, because my team won a playoff round in San Diego. I know it's wish fulfillment. Will that happen? I keep waiting for the show pods to show up and actually start playing well, but it's just not happening.
Well, you just used the key word or the key phrase, all of a sudden. Like, that would have to happen.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, right? Like, my sister, I love saying it, all of a sudden, right? Like, no. I look at what you guys just talked about with Scherzer. One, I agree with you so much. Look at me and the Prince of Darkness getting along today. Another thing we agree on, I think the Mets are going to get gassed out chasing the Bravos. And look at today, the announcement with Scherzer. He's hurt. I mean, that's what happens when all these guys are just trying to chase, which is why I don't want the Dodgers. After Kershaw pitched today, and showing him and seeing him all sweaty on the mound and on the big screen. And I was like, can we just wrap him in bubble wrap and just put him away until the playoffs? Like, I don't want anything to happen to our guys. We don't need the 116. I just want to get to October. I just want to play and be healthy. That's all I wish for.
Yeah.
Please, baseball gods, please.
I don't want any piece of the Braves, and I don't want any piece of the Cardinals.
Yeah. The Cardinals scare me, but I just don't think we're going to see the Cardinals until the NLCS if they make it that far.
Yeah, I feel like both of those teams, this might be contrary to popular opinion, I think both of those teams are built to win right now. That's why I wouldn't want to play them. They're deep, they have great pitching, and they got it's a good balance of youth and vets. That's why I'd be scared to play those guys. I would like to play the Phillies just because that's the best dumpster fire in all of baseball next to the New York Yankees, and I just want to play them because I hate their fans. That's like their fans. I mean, you've been there, Juan. I don't like the fans. They're rough. They're rough.
I've been there, and they are rough. They make the Raiders look like little innocent angels.
That's true. They make Cowboy fans seem pleasant. Like it's brutal.
Whoa.
Babyface, who do you want in the division series?
Save the best for last.
I mean, we don't know, right? Because it's going to be Mets and Braves are battling, right? So depending on who wins that, we would get the winner of what was it again, Alonso?
But we're living in a fantasy world.
Yeah, but this is all hyperbole.
Like, who do you want?
It doesn't matter. You're gonna have to beat whoever's in front of you.
Yeah, so but who do you want to see the Dodgers beat?
That's the first time you have ever said those words. You are a liar. Like
it doesn't matter. I mean, they got to play whoever's in front of them.
So you wouldn't? There isn't anybody that you would like to see the Dodgers beat?
I mean, all those teams are going to be good,
Everybody.
right?
You hate the show pods. You find every opportunity to crap on the show pods,
I don't
and
think
you
that-
wouldn't
You
want to
have one
beat
right
them.
now, and you're not taking it.
I've said show pods are either not making the playoff or they're losing in that first round. So I don't think they're going to be there.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then we're going to either get the Metropolitans in the second round. We're either getting the Metropolitans or the Bravos.
Or the Bravos, yeah. Which did I just say? I don't want any piece of those either of those teams until the NLCS.
The Braves have a little momentum, but we're getting that bye, and like
Yeah.
if we're healthy, I'm not afraid.
Can I tell you though
can
that I'm
say
I'm always sketched out about buys, whether it's football, whether it's baseball, because it kind of messes with your routine. Like, yeah, you can simulate, games and all that stuff, but there's nothing like a postseason game, right? And that's why I am not a fan of buys. And I know a lot of guys are not a fan of buys for that same reason. But do they need the time? Absolutely.
David wants a taco is back, and he agrees with me. He wants to crush the Padres.
I'm
There's
just
so-
saying.
there's something about, I mean, yeah, I get it. It probably won't happen. You're right, babyface. But watching them lose their mind because they lost to the Dodgers again, I think would be fun to watch.
And then we can all go like a road trip, like a field trip.
There we go.
And then Juan can have a solo parade, and that's in the gas lamp.
I'm going to go with the gas lamp and be like, hey, the Dodgers are going to the next. Isn't this how you celebrate a playoff series? Isn't this what you're supposed to do?
Padres fans, as we know now, as Nick told us last week, they're happy winning one game in the series. So they won one last week, and that's probably what they're looking for this weekend. One win, they'll be happy.
And unfortunately, that's a direct quote. So that's kind of the bummer about that.
Dude, I heard they're booing Soto down in San Diego.
Wait, really?
So get this. I saw a tweet. It was last night of what Soto's been doing. Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo in half the at bats has more home runs, more RBIs. He strikes out more, lower batting average. He's about 200. Soto's I think like 240 or so since he's been there. About twice the at bats, but he walks a ton. But Joey Gallo is actually outperforming Juan Soto.
I didn't know that they were booing him, though. I didn't know that.
I mean, it's not vociferous. It's, it's sprinkled on there.
But you can hear it.
But yeah, you can hear it according to the Padre fans on Twitter. So
it's not helpful, Padres fans.
Tough scene.
I'm just
But
gonna say.
I think it's the fans are frustrated because they won the trade deadline. They were expecting a lot to get hit with the Tatis thing, and right now it seems like when the show pods came to Dodger Stadium, like Soto before the Sunday night game was like 0 for 17. Yeah, he walks a lot.
Yeah.
But he wasn't hitting. He got 2 hits on the Sunday night game, but I think Padre fan is gripping right now because they're clinging to a 5 or a 6. There's no guarantee they're going to make the playoffs, so it's very interesting.
I think they said he misses his hitting coach that he had with the Nationals.
Oh, really?
And he doesn't have him. Yeah, so it's playing a big part into his game now.
So have you heard that they're booing him? Have you heard that?
No,
I have not.
Until today, I had not heard.
Don't pay that much attention to Padres fans. They think that they're in our head. So
no, I think now because I follow Nick on Twitter, all of a sudden I get these tweets, and I don't even follow these people, I'm like, why am I seeing this? It's like Padres talk.
I like how
Nick too, so I should pay more attention. But
I like how I like the backhanded compliment that Juan threw out there. I follow Nick now, so I should be paying more attention to Padres fans. Looking ahead, though, this is actually I think the rotation's a little more black and white than people lead on to believe. If I'm being completely honest with you, the bullpen is another story because Craig Kimbrell, who has let it go.
I see what you did there. Very good, sir. Very good.
I want a point because if I recall right, I told you guys you got to get the man some reps and he'll figure it out. And I think he's starting to crescendo correctly. Is he not?
Yeah, he's letting it go. You're absolutely right.
Well played. The power of music.
Yeah.
The power of Disney music.
Yeah, very well played there, sir. Hopefully he can keep this up. And like you said, he is. I heard, I think it was Rick Monday today saying that the difference was he's starting to get the curveball over, he's starting to get strikes. To me, I mean, we've talked about this on the show with Kimbrel. The most frustrating thing was he was not able to put people away.
He wasn't hitting
Like
his spot.
a lot of these rallies would start with 2 outs, and it would always be like a flare. And Alonso, you've always said this, like it doesn't look like he's getting hit hard, right?
No. No.
So hopefully his control continues to be this way, because that's huge.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you have Kimbrel, now Blake Trinan's back, Evan Phillips, you have
That's
a
a
lead
scary
late in the
1,
game.
2, 3 right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a filthy 1, 2, 3, and I would put those 3 up against anyone's 1, 2, 3 in all of baseball.
Real quick, if they're going to keep Kimbrough in the closing spot and he's going to come out to let it go, I want a big production. I want something like the trumpets. I want like some.
No. Don't do the
lights.
trumpets thing.
Don't do
Look,
anything.
No,
Jerry
some
Seinfeld.
lights that look like ice or something on the floor.
No. You
No.
gotta do what works. Don't get cute, right?
No.
One-
That's
That's
Juan
what
said, none
Jerry
of that cute shit.
Seinfeld said. Jerry Seinfeld said the reason why the Mets are in a funk now and they're going to lose is because they brought out that trumpet guy, Timmy Trumpet, and they were celebrating before they had even won anything. Look up the tweet by Jerry Seinfeld. He is blaming Timmy Trumpet for the Mets. So
That guy won't be able
let
to go
him
by.
use the music.
Yeah.
Now that music started on Women's Day.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to give a thank you, give it to Kimbrel's wife, who
Exactly.
chose that song, and I think was sending some psychology to her man, saying, "Hey, just let it go,
Let it go.
let
So-
it
It
go."
wasn't his daughter. His daughter, right?
I thought it was his daughter too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All
what I
right.
thought.
The
Was
point
his
is,
daughter.
it's girls, it's young women.
All right, so I'm going to throw out some names, and I just want to hear a yes or a no. Okay. As far as being in the bullpen, obviously, Kimbrel's a yes.
Yeah.
Evan Phillips is a yes. Blake Trinan is a yes. Caleb Ferguson.
I think that's a numbers game.
Yeah.
I think performance-wise, he deserves to be in the bullpen.
Yeah.
But he's a left-handed pitcher.
That's
How
his
many
only knock.
people?
Yeah.
How many lefties are they going to carry? David Price's health, I think, is going to factor in on that.
And
So
he's currently on the IL, so that's another.
I'm going to hold. I'm going to put him aside in my shopping list.
Okay. What about Justin Brule, friend of the Carne Asada? Said, watch
He's done.
watch
He's
what
out.
you say.
He's out,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Bill Bickford.
He's out.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Dustin May. I think he's in the bullpen.
Do any of you guys disagree with anything I'm saying, by the way?
The only one is Caleb Ferguson, but I agree with you. It all depends on the team who they're playing. I agree with that.
Babyface Alicia, do you guys agree with any of my no's?
No, I don't argue your nose.
Bickford.
Bickford's an interesting one.
Yeah. I don't know. I can see him on, and then I can see him off.
But I feel like Bickford, not to like trash Phil Bickford. It's not that they wouldn't use him in a leverage situation, but I feel like it would be like you know how back in the day it was like hey, go out and get this righty, go out and you know what I mean, like something like that.
But you guys glossed over. Juan didn't just say no; he said he's out.
But here's the thing, right? For the first series, that could completely change for the second series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're gonna see a lot of that. I think you'll see a couple guys in the first round, and then we'll see somebody else in the second round.
Yeah.
Coldplay's Chris Martin.
I think he's in.
Yeah, he's in.
And
Heath Hembree?
Dieter Rule. I mean, just for after every out, he's like got a cold. I mean, props to Dieter Rule.
Well, it's because Coldplay's got bangers. That's why.
Yeah.
Yency Almonte.
I hate to say this. I think Yency's out.
So I don't think Yency's in the first round only for injury.
I was going to say he's injured.
Same with David Price. I think that those are the two.
But he's getting better, and I think we have an update.
Do we?
Yeah, we do have a Yency update.
Do we?
Do
Yeah,
tell.
I think we do.
Pray tackle.
No, I know we have a Yency.
Wow, why was that so bad?
Timing. Everything is timing.
Let's see who's at the door.
Let's see who's at the door.
We need metronomes, so that way everyone can.
And joining us on the Carne Asada is Dodgers reliever Yency Almonte. Yency, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
Oh, fantastic. So let's get right to it, Yency. We want to know, how's your health? Because we miss you, man. I mean, the season that you were having, I will get into your season, but first of all, how is your health? How are you?
I'm getting better. We got a bullpen today, so I'm getting better every day and just trying to take it slow. My main thing is I want to stay healthy and not come back rushing and then get hurt again. The goal is to be back for playoffs and hopefully help the team win the World Series. So I'm just trying to take it day by day.
So that being that now we are in early September, is there a little bit of pressure of like, hey, I'm running out of time? Like you said, you don't want to rush it back. You don't want to get hurt again. But is there a little bit of like urgency now? Like if I don't make it back, I might not make the roster. What's going on through your head?
I mean, earlier when I first got hurt, I had that urgency where I was like, man, I'm missing out helping this team clinch the playoffs. Where I was pitching, like you said, I was pitching the ball very well, and I felt like I had a groove going. But thankfully here, from the front office down, coaching staff, like, hey, we want you to be healthy. We're not worried about the future, more of your health and being able to help us.
So you mentioned you threw a bullpen today. So is the plan another bullpen, and then we're talking about a rehab assignment, or are you going to need a rehab assignment?
So I'll throw a bullpen today after this later on at 3, and then I haven't been told the next steps yet. This will be my third bullpen, so I'm not sure about throwing another one after that or live BP. I'm just going with the flow.
Right on. Alicia, go ahead.
I'm happy to hear that, and I'm grateful that you are with an organization that truly cares about their players and their fans. They just want you to get better, and I'm totally biased as I say that, Yency. We all want you to just get better, get back out there. You have a lot of loyal fans that are waiting, hearing about the rumors that you were pitching bullpens and stuff. Like, that's all good. We love to hear it. But I want to know about young Yency, about little Yency. So you grew up in Florida, and who was your team that you wanted to play for? Because I mean, you hear about when you're a kid, all you want to do, play baseball for, your favorite team. Who was your team growing up?
See, so my dad's a big baseball fan. He loved the Braves.
Ah.
Braves games. So for me, I thought it'd be cool to play for the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Knew 2 people at the time. Yeah, one was Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones.
Oh, that's fun.
My older brother and I, we played baseball growing up. He played center field, so whatever he did, I wanted to do. Hitting, so I wanted to start switch hitting. And then my dad was up till I got to my freshman year of high school, and I went on to high school and just did it on my own.
Nice. And I know you played with the Rockies before you came here. I just don't want to get it wrong. Like, my big thing is the fan experience. I'm one of those homers that believes playing at Dodger Stadium is almost sacred, right? I call it the cathedral of baseball. I love my stadium, our stadium. Look at me, my stadium. What would you say the biggest difference is playing, because going to Colorado, that's pretty famous, infamous, right? Hitting them out there. And sometimes it doesn't work out for the Dodgers. But I'm just saying, overall, what was it like first playing at Dodger Stadium for you?
My first time here, obviously playing from Colorado, being on the other side, the fans are really into the game. That's the first thing I noticed. From their whole pitch taking off, they're screaming from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, especially their favorite players. So when I got this year and I played on this side, I was waiting for the heckling when I was warming up, and I didn't get any of that. And so let's go, you got this. And like you said, they're loyal. They support me in everywhere, even on the field, off the field. They support me. Twitter, anything. And it just shows how much they care.
Ooh, yay, Dodger fan. Keep it going. I want to just ask one more thing, because this is something we do here at the Bleed Los podcast. We're the only Latino podcast talking Dodgers. We talk LA culture. We talk tacos. What is your feeling about the mariachis?
I like the live, them singing. I always ask Julio, what song is that? Like, I learn, I understand the culture more.
I love it. Juan, now I know what you're going to ask.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of other things I want to ask, but I do want to go back to the season that you're having, Yency. I mean, before you went down, you had an ERA of 1.15. I know there was a lot of people that were screaming that you should be closing out games. I mean, the way you were pitching, man, you were just you were lights out. I wanted to ask you, coming from the Rockies to the Dodgers, was there something that the Dodgers recognized, maybe something mechanical, because the way you're pitching now, or is it just the fact that wearing that Dodger uniform automatically makes you a better pitcher? How did the Dodgers help you become a better pitcher this year?
For me, it's from the moment I walked in spring training. Connor McGinnis and Mark Pryor sat me down and opened up their laptop and showed me charts and analytics and how everything worked and the way they run things here. And they pretty much told me what I needed to do to be successful. So before I got here in the minor leagues, I'll throw a sinker in the minor leagues. Once I got to the big leagues, they didn't want me to throw sinker anymore. In Colorado, they wanted me to throw four seams. McGinnis and Pryor asked me why I stopped doing it, and I said, well, because I was told not to, and I don't want to go against the coaches in the big leagues. So he brought up for me to throw sinkers primarily in spring training. Okay, we want you to get a feel for your sinker. We're not going to throw many four seams. It's going to be more sinker slider, and that's going to be your pitch mix. And sure enough, I rolled with it in spring training. I think I didn't give a run in spring training. Just I got my confidence back. I knew I can pitch, and I wasn't trying to miss barrels. Like in Colorado, you pitch down the middle and you get hit, you're going to go a long way. So here it was more of just like having that confidence back and knowing that they're trusting me to go out and get outs.
So you mentioned Mark Pryor. Out here, people think Mark Pryor is a wizard, right? Mark Pryor just fixes everybody. Being that you're a bullpen guy, who do you spend the majority of your time working with? Is it Mark Pryor, or do you spend your time working with the bullpen coach?
Well, bullpen coach Josh Bard and Connor McGinnis.
Those are the guys that you spend the majority of your time, right?
Speak to the most.
Okay, perfect. So that being said, Mookie Betts this weekend was interviewed during the game. I have this is a two-part question. I know they would never do it with pitchers, but let's say you were a position player. Could you handle being interviewed during the game? I know a lot of fans, some of them hate this because you feel like the player's going to get distracted. What if they hit the ball? But I think you guys can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? Like, would you like to be interviewed during a game, Yency?
I think it all depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie Betts is Mookie Betts for a reason. He's a superstar. And I think Mookie Betts brings that calm into the game that only he has. And I think him and Freddie, you see it with them, Trey Turner, where they're not shocked by what situation it is or the lights or the noise. They know how good they are and they get the job done. I think for a pitcher, it's kind of hard just for you're getting a question while you're trying to go face Nolan Arenado. And it's like, you don't want to laugh, do anything weird on the mound.
Right. So they asked Mookie, like what he likes to do. And, there's this big thing that Mookie's a big bowler, right? He loves bowling. But I found it really interesting that he had said it helps him keep his mind off of baseball. Do you feel like you have to? I mean, it's funny because it's a game, right? You play a game for a living, but this is your job. So, do you feel like you need a distraction for your job, and if you do, what is it for you? Like, what do you like to do that you feel relaxes you?
For me, so bringing up Mookie, I play video games with Mookie. That's what we do. Play with Catboy, Tony Gonsolin, and then I try to golf. Just because I know golf is hard. Like you said, it makes me forget about baseball and just focus on what I got to do. Just hit that little tiny ball straight, which I can't, but I try to do it anyway. But I think golf is what allows me to step away. And I used to play basketball a lot, but now I'm in the big leagues. I don't want to hurt my knee or I don't want to get hurt doing anything dumb. But in the minor leagues, I was hooping every day.
Well, Alicia's the professional golfer on the show. So, Alicia, I'm gonna segue some golf questions to you. Go ahead.
No, I think that's cool. First of all, I am not professional. When someone asks me my handicap, Yency, I say scramble, best shot. That's my handicap. I love tournaments. In fact, I just played in Jaime Yarin's annual golf tournament to raise money for his foundation, his family. And, Nomar Garcia Para was out there. A lot of players, Sean Green, Oral Hershiser, they all golf. And I think that's a testament to what golf does. So you say you focus on hitting that ball, but what I think golf helps with is it's you versus you, right? So
Exactly.
you're strengthening. I mean, plus you're out there, on the greens, and I'm happy to hear you're golfing. Maybe we'll see you next year at the tournament. Have you been to Top Golf yet? One of those?
Arizona.
Yeah, any of them. I've only been to the one in Vegas. Have you like it? You have fun?
Yeah.
Okay, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I think it's us, Yency. I think we're having some problems with our Wi-Fi here, but we're gonna start wrapping things up. But one of the things I want to leave with, because you mentioned your family and the Braves and all that stuff, there is a possibility that we're gonna see the Bravos in the playoffs, Yency. So. I mean, please tell me your family has their Dodger gear on and they're gonna forget about the Bravos.
Well, they do already.
All right.
All right. Well, good. So I that's what we're gonna leave you with this, but I do want to ask you one thing, Yency. I think us fans, we look at you guys kind of like as robots, that you guys just go out there and perform, and I think we lose sight of the human side. I don't think there's anything that prepares you for dealing with injuries in sports. I don't know if when you were younger you had many injuries, but when you're pitching so well and then for an injury to be the thing that sidetracks you, how do you deal with that? I mean, how do you not let it overcome your season?
You have to be strong-minded. That's the way I see it. I mean, I was never hurt growing up when I was little. I only got hurt when I signed to professional baseball, when I started pitching every day. And then I think I haven't been hurt, knock on wood, till now, since 2018, I want to say, or 17. And I take pride in the off season, making sure I stay healthy, do the right workouts, take care of my shoulder, and just to come ready for the season, to be able to endure the whole season. And like you said, to be sidetracked earlier this year, knowing who I was pitching, it got in my head a little bit, because I felt like I was letting the whole team down. But the whole team, including the front office, reminded me of how big our lead was in the division, and they're like, we just want you to be healthy and be ready for playoffs. So that allowed me to just like step back and just trust the trainers and know that little by little I'm going to be back before the season ends.
So, Yency, was this? I keep hearing this from you, and it just seems like, man, the Dodgers seem to be running things completely different than from where you were before. Like, is it really? Is this what separates this organization from other organizations? There seems to be a lot of communication with you guys, and it seems like what they do is they recognize the positive things in you. Is it that simple, that they just push the positivity?
I think that's what it is. I think they do a very good job of showing that it's more than a baseball game, and it's more about the person and making sure they're healthy. Because it doesn't help if we're hurt and not pitching well or hitting well. It doesn't help the team. So I think they do a very good job of knowing the guys that they have and helping them get better.
Well, look, we can't wait for you to come back, because we need you, man. With you, it just makes our bullpen stronger. Even though I know your boy Hanser Alberto all of a sudden probably thinks he should be closer, right? Like, how do the rest of you guys deal with the fact that I think he has the most appearances now by a position player pitching in a game? Do any of you guys give him pointers?
Oh, I tell him throw the ball slow. Like, throw the ball as slow as possible. Or that's deep. They're gonna hit that. You throw it slow, a little globito, they're not gonna hit that.
Oh, hey! So I hear the Spanish there, Yency. I know you're from Florida. Are you a Latino?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, we lost you there. You broke up there. What's your family background?
My parents Dominican.
Oh, they're Dominican. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so
Latino.
all right, this is a Latino show, so I gotta ask you. I was there last night for Salvadorian Heritage Night. Was it me, or did it seem like it was popping more than normal in the stadium last night with all the cumbias?
It was fun. I mean, it was loud. It was fun. I think that's every game here. So for me to like try to differentiate, I really can't. I know it gets loud loud when Marachi's here, though. That's when it gets super loud.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Dorado's looking for you because he just popped his head in the door. But we want to thank you for stopping by, Yency, and we wish you the best of luck. We hope you get healthy as soon as possible because we need you, and we want to beat those Bravos, and I want to see the look on your face when we do.
Of course. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
Yency.
you. Get better.
Huge thanks to Yency Almonte for stopping by. One thing he said that actually stood out to me is something that Andrew Friedman talked about on the Sunday night game, the culture, right? That they're trying to, it isn't just the guy and their abilities, because obviously all these guys are good at what they do, but the culture element is such a key component to Andrew's way of building a roster. Yency seems like I wish I could have talked to him, but I was dealing with some stuff, but that he's got his head on right is all I took away from that. Even with all the adversity that he dealt with in Colorado, which most guys, they can kind of get hung up on it, but he's kind of that other success story of like a Jake McGee, that came here and they changed it up. But it's also insane to me. This is now talking shit as a fan, that the Rockies would tell a guy to not throw his best pitch. I don't understand that for the life of me. I do not understand that.
Yeah, I was surprised by that ting, and our apologies to the little technical difficulties that we had with Yency. He wasn't miming. He wasn't messing with us. The audio was dropping out.
I did not want to interrupt him, so I kept trying to read his lips, and there are several times, did you see me? I'm all, like, what the heck?
So calm down, duck lips McGee.
So I was trying to keep it going because I'm like, oh no, like, should I even ask another question because I can't hear him? I thought it was my computer.
No, you guys weathered the storm. You weathered it well.
I know he was that without hesitation. He's so strong. His mindset is great, but
yeah,
I was trying to go with that top golf question, like, who would you take with you? And because he talked about hanging out with Urías and stuff like that. So I failed.
No, you didn't. You didn't fail. But to your point, Alonso, you're absolutely right. This is what separates the Dodgers organization because Heath Bell told us the same thing. Like, he was telling us about how the Mets pitching coach would tell him, this is how you need to pitch. Yeah. Right. And then the Padres pitching coach would tell him something else. So organizations seem to have their philosophies and they stick to them. Yeah. Meanwhile, all I hear from him is, the Dodgers bring him in, and instead of telling him, this is what you don't do well, the Dodgers go, this is what you do well, and we want you to keep doing that.
But there was a word that stood out to me that he said that as a dude, like, to anyone that plays at this level, because you're second-guessing yourself because anyone can take your job like that, right?
Yeah.
That they trust him. That they trust him enough to go out there and get the outs and get those important outs as they advance. And that's huge because you don't really hear that from a lot of guys that are out there, even in other reputable organizations, right? That they may have kind of a solid job, that they don't hear that their managers or their coaches or whatever trust them.
Is not a great example, Joey Gallo, right?
Yes.
I mean, what a great, I'm just so happy that he's fit in so well here and thrived. And what were they saying? Juan is a big Twitter guy, like, oh man, he's gonna go to the Dodgers and hit the home run and beat us. Like, other fan bases know the Dodgers culture is they take someone and they figure it out, they tweak, they work with you, and it does come from a place of, we believe in you. You wouldn't be here if we didn't believe in you. And just a side note, I don't follow the Yankees as closely as I should this late in the season, but did they lose the night that Gallo hit the home run?
I don't know, but it's interesting because my compadre is a Yankee fan. And every time mi gallo hits a home run, without fail, my compadre will text me, of course Gallo hits a home run. Of course he does.
Thriving.
But you know what? I mean, instead of being stoked that Aaron Judge is about to hit 64 probably, they're more worried about Joey Gallo hitting home runs for the Dodgers. So that kind of tells you the tale of two cities, if you will.
But it's, it's really is a bummer because I think if Yency wouldn't have gotten hurt, he'd be in the playoff roster. Yeah. And it just, I feel really bad for him because coming from that situation in Colorado, he's having a great season. He's showing everyone what he can do.
Yeah.
And to have this injury come so late in the season, and now it jeopardizes them. I mean, I hope he gets a chance. You know, it was his third bullpen. Maybe we see him pitch live batting practice. I'm hoping maybe these last 2 weeks of the season he gets some work and he tries to find a way to get on this roster, because it just really sucks. And it's the cruelty of this sport sometimes, where it's just something out of your hands.
I want to ask you, there's one name I purposefully left for now as we go into our picks. Alex Vecchio. Do you think that he makes the playoff roster?
Yes, I think he's the lefty.
I think yes.
Okay.
I think he's the lefty they trust the most.
Yeah. I figured it would be a yes as a given, but the reason I didn't know it was a given is because Caleb Ferguson's a pretty good lefty too. So it's a good, it's kind of I mean, there's competition, I guess, there. But then again, Andrew Friedman did say if he could carry 14 pitchers on that playoff roster, he'd do it. So, and that would probably come down, I think, to one of those two guys. But as we look
Babyface,
ahead,
what do you think of Vecchio?
yeah,
He's in. He's a lock.
I just can't believe they used Tyler Anderson. I haven't forgot about that. That's on. There's a list right here, and that's on that list. Put some respect on that man's name. So I know you wanted to start with this, Roger, but we politely declined. As we look back at the week that was. Go ahead and do the victory lap or whatever you got to do.
Yeah, let's do a wrap up, because for the first time in a long time, Babyface won the picks.
You guys are brutal.
Hey, Alicia won too.
I'm getting to it, but I'm giving you
notice
your
that
moment.
Alicia isn't doing a victory lap, like kicking her foot off, like I won.
Alicia has a healthy self-esteem and doesn't need me to,
validate her.
Yeah,
You're doing the Messi thing where Messi took off the shirt and like stood in front of everyone to let everyone know. Yeah, we already know that you're.
I'm trying to give you your props, dude. You won.
I mean, I would have won some other weeks too, but there was like slight technicalities and Dodgers.
Yeah, technicalities like they lost
what technicalities they lost.
Yeah.
They tied. That was the technicality.
So Babyface and Alicia both picked the Dodgers going 4-2. The Dodgers went 4-2 this past week. So an update to our standings. Alicia now is tied for the lead with me at 7. Alonzo is then following us with 6. Babyface is following with 5, and our listeners have 3. So this is the time now for our listeners to please chime in the chat with your picks. We have 6 games. Am I correct that we got here?
Yes,
we
3 against the Padres, 3 against the D-backs.
Exactly. So
sorry, not D-backs, my bad.
So Alonzo, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4-2 since this is a roadie.
Oh, all right. 4-2 for Alonzo. Alicia?
I was going to go 4-2 since that got me to where I am now. However, I'm going to price this right, Alonso, and go 5-1.
Oh.
Drew Carey will not appreciate this.
She prices righted. Okay. I'm going to go 3-3.
Wow. Okay.
Of course you are.
And this is the reason why I'm going to go 3-3. I don't know if
you banner in the back that says contrarian. Like, can we just?
No, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but this is now the second spring training. The Dodgers, and you've said this a lot, Alonzo, they've taken their foot completely off the pedal.
Yeah.
They are basically just giving guys work, trying to figure out who is going to be in this playoff roster. So because of that, I feel certain decisions are going to be made in games where, for example, there may be a certain bullpen pitcher that gets brought in, and you're like, why are they bringing in this guy and saving another? So because of that, I feel it's going to cost them a game. I also think, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Diamondbacks all of a sudden are playing pretty good.
Because they're all playing for jobs for next year, bro.
Exactly. Like the Diamondbacks, they got that. Has anyone noticed that this Gallen guy is now 40 innings, I think, of scoreless baseball?
Yeah.
And this is where I remind everyone that the Hershiser record is 58 2/3. So I mean, I don't know if Gallen's going to get if he's going to get there, but the Diamondbacks seem to be pretty good, and they always end up losing one game in Arizona that they had no business losing.
For
And
the record, I have them losing 2 in Arizona. That's where the 2 losses
really?
come from. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why.
Now Alicia's like hedging her
You know,
bets.
wait.
So that's why
Stop the
I'm
car.
saying 3-3, because I just feel like it's spring training. The Dodgers are just going to give guys work. They're going to try. They're trying to figure out what their playoff roster is
Yeah.
going to look like.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
Can't
should.
change. Can't change.
Oh, look at him! Look at him! All of a sudden.
he
I'm
wins
not
the game.
saying-
Act like you've been there
but-
before, Roger. Come on, man.
I should stick to what I was preaching about, earlier at the game, seeing Kershaw grind for 6 innings and seeing Kershaw do his thing. But I'm like, bubble wrap. I want us to be healthy. So then why do I want us to go all out? These games don't matter.
Yeah.
So I should not have put my pride as a Dodger fan, like, let's smoke them, put their foot on their throats. No, I should go along with, like, I don't care if we go 3-3 because they don't matter. I just want us to be healthy,
So what she's saying is she wants them to lose all of the games.
No,
Well,
no,
look-
just like take
Oh,
it
and 6.
easy. No, injuries.
Take
you're going
it
with,
easy.
so you're going with 3-3?
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-3.
Oh, you're changing it to 3-3?
Yeah, I feel
Wow.
like I have to stick by what I want, not what I think is gonna. I want them to take this time to figure things out. No craziness. But then don't we want the momentum? Oh, I'm such a mess.
See, as my wife-
Not right now. Maybe in the last. I think
like
the
2
issue.
weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
I think the issue is they're gonna have a bye the first week,
Yep.
Yeah.
So in
so
2
they're
weeks,
gonna be down.
in 2 weeks is when you want them to go hard in the paint, because then if they have a week off, then they have a little momentum going into it, right? But as my wonderful wife says, the heart wants what it wants. So that's why I went 4-2.
That's in the words of the poet Selena Gomez.
That's right. And also my wife, who says that all the time.
This is the Latino podcast.
Go ahead, Roger. 6-0, I assume. 7-0.
So this is interesting because a sweep in San Diego gives the Dodgers a NL West.
Right. The magic number is 6.
That's why I went 4-2, because then that clinches and
So
we move on.
it's in San
Here's the
Diego.
thing, though, and just not to get in your head, it's a foregone conclusion the Dodgers are going to win the division. It doesn't have
Right.
to be against the Padres.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. So the fans in San Diego don't want to see the Dodgers win that NL
Yeah.
West on their field. So are the Padres going to play up to that?
No.
And it would make their season, to be
It would.
honest.
You're
I
right,
still
would.
think I'm gonna stick with Nick, and I think they're gonna get one game. Dodgers won't clinch in San Diego,
Okay.
so they'll probably lose one there, and I think they'll lose one in Arizona. So 4-2.
4-2. All righty.
So me and Alonso's riding with a winner.
Wow.
And David wants a taco with the 3-3. Simeon goes 5-1. So it'll just be to me. This is spring training that we're just watching. So
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Spring
It's
training
hopefully
2.0.
everyone is staying healthy. Hopefully everyone's getting their work in. Migallo took one off the elbow today. I know.
Yeah, that looks rough.
The X-rays are negative, so hopefully that he's okay, because I expect him to get a lot of playing time. We didn't get to it in this show. I think we'll probably get to it in another show when we start talking about these playoff rosters. But there's going to be some decisions that are going to need to be made with certain players.
100%.
So
Position
and-
players.
Position
we should
players.
say.
Cody Bellinger.
You know
Chris
what?
Taylor.
We'll make that promise to everyone that we'll talk about that next week, since we already talked about the bullpen, because then
Yes.
that's one more week closer in. Yeah. But if you want to ride with us, die with us, as some would say, because we can't win, chime in. Want to hear your predictions, whether it's here now on the Twitter when this plays again, or however that works, Instagram, wherever the place may be, or if we have the budget to run the clock down there, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called, the little ticker with all of our handles. You can at us. And I don't know if obviously we don't have a metronome for timing, but if there it is. So we had a couple dollars. Follow us and all that jazz. But if you also want to bet online, go to Bet Online, who presented this show's website, which is betonline.ag. And if you use our promo code, which is BLEAV50, BLEAV50, you will receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit, whether it's the NFL, the NBA. The NFL starts tomorrow, by the way. That's insane. NBA.
Go Raiders!
Years
Whose house?
of abuse.
Raiders!
Combat sports,
Very
esports.
disrespectful that
Guys, we can't read over the read.
Yeah, you're fucking me up here with your dumb Raiders line, Juan. God damn it. Where was I? All the sports you can bet online for that, and you could even bet for against the Dodgers based on what we just talked about. Do you think they'll go 4-2? Do you think they'll go 6-0 like Abraham Jimenez said? That's bold, but I appreciate it. But if you got the money, BLEAV50, BLEAV50 on their website, which is betonline.ag. Huge thanks to them for presenting the episode. As always, thanks to you, though, for joining us, talking some trash with us, chiming in, hearing Juan's crazy antics, and so much more here on the only Latino podcast, the Bleed Los podcast, from your boys Alonso y Juan, Babyface Gimmick in the Sky Roger, and the Princess of Picolandia, Alicia del Valle. We are the Bleed Los podcast, and we'll catch you down the road. Go Dodgers. Go Packers.
And whose house?
Oh, go.
Champs.
Rams
Champs, baby.
house.
Champs.
You
Champs.
can't see it, but
Put some respect on that name. I can't believe the Bills are favored. Ugh.
as well, I'd take them 2 by 3, but also as a Packers owner, you can't see it. It's back there. Puro pinche Packers. That's right.
Overrated.
Wow.